Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? I understand that baseball is the talk of the town when it comes to the sports world, but I'm just waiting for the Players Union to actually accept the July 1st start date and to actually agree with some of the safety protocols and the health situation with COVID-19. So until I see it in writing and until there's more details, I'm just going to let it all play out first, because with these two parties, between the union and the owners, you just flat out never, ever know what is going to happen. So I'm just waiting for it to be 1,000% confirmed before we discuss it, because look, these two parties are so ridiculous and it's embarrassing. So I'm not going there. I'm not going there yet. Not yet. I've been losing my damn mind thinking about baseball and this pathetic back and forth that we have seen for months now. So with that being said, I have a fun discussion today. I actually saw an article on NFL.com written by Adam Shine, and he ranked the divisions by quarterbacks. So all of the quarterbacks matter. All of the teams matter. And he dove deep into all the divisions. Can you believe it? In his list, the NFC East was 8th. And just so you're clear, there's 8 divisions. I don't understand how you can possibly come up with that. That's a joke. We'll break it down. Before we do, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Orbit Energy and Power is home to solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. We are talking $0 electric bills. They are dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly. They use high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. They even take care of all the permitting and fees right there in the office, saving you a hassle of extra paperwork. Make sure you check out their information. The link is in the description to their website. So for number one on the list, I think this is totally fine. The number one is the NFC South. And just to be clear, he even states this. These rankings are a projection for 2020. The past is taken into account, but the list is meant to be an educated guess on what we will see on the future. All right, that's fine. I can get behind the logic of this breakdown. I can't get behind the actual results, though. It's literally insanity. Number one, though, I agree with. You got Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady. I think that is strong. I think that's the strongest 4 you are going to get. Tom Brady might be at the back end of his career, but I still think he's going to have success with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think they're going to be a team that just falls off and they're going to be horrendous and they're going to have 3 wins. No, I think they're going to be a competitive team. You bring Gronk back in the mix. You're going to have some excitement down there. He will definitely be an entertaining watch. Teddy Bridgewater with Matt Rule, he's intriguing. Let's go with that. Obviously, I would say out of the 4, he might be the 4th, but that's not a knock on him. I just like what Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, and Teddy Bridgewater brings to the table. Now, Matt Ryan had one hell of a career to this point. He's definitely on the back 9 of his career. So it's difficult to project that he's going to have some absolute elite season at this point, because I think he's tailing off a bit. But he has enough left in the tank to be a threat. When you see the Falcons on your schedule and you know their offensive weapons, Julio Jones, and you hope Calvin Ridley can take a big step, but just Julio Jones and Matt Ryan, it makes you concerned because they can make plays. Regardless of if he's going to have an elite season or not, when you see them on the schedule, you know that they are capable of making that play that can be the back-breaking play. So, with this group of 4, I think it's the strongest, and deservedly so. I can support it. Number 2, I actually like his number 2 also, and I agree with it. I have my list next to his. We have the NFC West. Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, and Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray. I'm just not ready yet to go with I can see what he's going to be. He's so raw. Can he become something? Sure. I just don't know what it is yet. There's not enough on him yet to fully know what he is capable of doing. I don't think he's some bum. I just don't know if I'm ready to say, I am all behind the Kyler Murray train. I need another year to see what he's going to do. And on top of that, they did add DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not, but they added a weapon who will be scary. And you need help when you are a young quarterback like that. So we'll see what he does with somebody like DeAndre Hopkins who can flat out change football games. I'm a supporter of Jared Goff. I know a lot of people don't think he's very good or it's just Sean McVay. And I don't think it's just Sean McVay. You don't make it to the Super Bowl just because of Sean McVay. I think surrounded by the right pieces, Jared Goff can be a really good player, and if he is surrounded by the right pieces, then you will see that in the outcome. So with Jared Goff, I think he's strong. Jimmy G, I think he's your guy who is in the right system right now, and I'm not super afraid of him, but I don't think he's some stiff either. He's capable of winning football games on the road. He's capable of making certain passes here and there. He's just, to me, he's your average quarterback. But if you're going to put all four together, if you have an average quarterback, I still think that makes your group of four strong. Here's the kicker, though. It's Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson being one of the best, if not the best right now in football, that's going to add a ton of value to these four players. So if you group together, in my opinion, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, and Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that's a strong three. Once again, that's not knocking Kyler Murray. But what it's doing is saying, I don't know what you are yet. I'm excited to see you grow. I would love to see you succeed. You chose this path over baseball. You got drafted high in baseball. And by the way, looking at what those two are going through right now, you made the right choice because screw baseball. I want to see you go out there and put on a show. I'm just not convinced yet. When you watch Pat Mahomes early on, you knew. I'm not convinced yet with Kyler Murray. Number 2, the NFC West. Number 3, the AFC West is on his list. And I couldn't disagree more. Pat Mahomes, absolutely great. I mentioned Russell Wilson, arguably the best in football. Pat Mahomes, if you don't think it's Wilson, is number 1. Stellar. Unbelievable. Makes plays every single week where you almost vomit in your mouth and you jump up and you question, you look at your boys. What the hell? Did he really just do that? Was he able to really deliver in that moment? Was he even looking downfield? Was his eyes closed? Did he just throw across his body? You name it. We've heard it. My problem with this group being at number 3 is everybody else. Everybody else. Derek Carr, Tyrod Taylor / Justin Herbert, Drew Lock, So essentially, what the list is telling me here is Pat Mahomes is so good, it doesn't even matter who else is combined with him. And I think that's full of crap. If you wanted to have who is the best quarterback in the league list, then you go down that route. But you can't just say that because Pat Mahomes is in this core that they're third. Because Derek Carr is so Tyrod Taylor is your journeyman backup. And Drew Lock, are you expecting Drew Lock to be that fantastic? I guess what's going on here is he believes that Drew Lock is going to be so good with the Broncos, way more than I think he's going to be, and that adds value to this 4. Let's see what he actually has to say in this, because in each section, he writes down a whole entire paragraph on why he put who he put. And obviously for Pat Mahomes, he says he's the best quarterback in the NFL. But I'm looking for what he says about Drew Lock. Well, here, come on. I've always been a Carr supporter and believe he will lead the Raiders to at least 9 wins this year. 9 wins? I don't know if I can support that. Not a big Derek Carr guy. John Elway smartly snagged the 23-year-old quarterback, another proven backfield commodity. So, Melvin Gordon, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler. He expects big things this year from Locke. He's also a huge fan of Tyrod Taylor. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he sees something that I'm not seeing. With the Broncos, I get that you gave him some players. Melvin Gordon, a nice running back. Although, whatever debacle he went with last year to try and get himself paid more money, obviously that didn't work out very well for him. You don't know what's going to happen with KJ Hamler. The dude's a guy with a ton of speed, and I mean a ton of speed. Can he catch the football, though? Jerry Jeudy's going to be a nice player, no doubt about it. What I saw him do at Alabama was special, and I'm pretty sure it's going to definitely relate to the NFL game. The speed, the route running, it's there. And I get how that can help a quarterback. I just think that Shine's putting too much stock into that and thinking that Drew Lock is going to come out and be this unreal quarterback next year. And I do not see that whatsoever. They made 6th on my list, the 6th division. I value Pat Mahomes. That's great. But this list is about all 4 together. And when you look at all 4 together, it's not that good to be 3rd on the list. I think his 4th division should be jumped up over these guys. And I also have this crew at 4 on my list. We just don't know what's 3 yet. The AFC North, Lamar Jackson, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Burrow, and Baker Mayfield. I'm not on Baker Mayfield's team. I don't think that he is a player that is going to really be that effective. I sense Baker Mayfield is heading in the wrong direction. Realistically, what he gave you last year, he's more of that than he is a quarterback that you can rely on every single Sunday. So I'm out on him. But where I think it's fair to put this crew at 4 is you do have Lamar Jackson, the MVP of the league. Lamar Jackson was special. He was making people miss. He made it to the playoffs. He led that Ravens team to a hell of a season. Now he had a bad playoff game. And I've been on the record mentioning it over and over and over again. There was something about the way the Tennessee Titans played them where I think film study is going to be huge. He's going to have to take a big step in his career because it's on display. It's on display on how to beat Lamar Jackson. Lamar has to add. Now, I think he will add. I love his determination. I love his dedication. I love everything about Lamar Jackson as the person, competitor, and athlete. So I can't wait to watch him grow and take that next step. I really hope he does. But it's fair to have him on the list and Big Ben. I've seen Big Ben play at a crazy level in this league, coming off of an injury, definitely older. But I think it's fair to say with Big Ben and Lamar Jackson that you can have a division that is strong in quarterback play. Now add Joe Burrow in the mix. I'm not sold on Joe Burrow. I think a lot of people fell in love with his personality, this cool guy, smoking cigars. He's got a bunch of swag. People fell in love with that. I saw it with Johnny Manziel. I saw it with Baker Mayfield. And that's not to say Joe Burrow is going to be a bad quarterback, because I'm not saying that at all. I think he can be a player in the league. Now, is he going to be a Tom Brady or more of your journeyman average guy like a Ryan Tannehill type player? I don't have that answer. I lean more towards he's just going to be your average quarterback than, say, some stud. I feel as if people really fell in love with who he was, or maybe not even who he really is, but just the way that he is viewed by the media with these pictures and all these videos surfacing of him being a cool person, if you will. There's this fascination with that, the swag, over what he's able to do on the football field at the NFL level. There's no doubt that what he did that last season in college was unreal to watch. And the touchdowns and the offense at LSU, it was clicking on all cylinders. Now you're playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Big difference. I promise you it matters, and it's a big-time difference. If you go back and look at what else he has done throughout his college career, though, because he did play in other spots, and it didn't pop as much. Now, I'm all about supporting growth. I support it all the time. It takes players a while to kind of develop and get into their groove and find ways and learn leagues and learn their teammates and learn how to play against certain defenses. It absolutely takes time. I support that. So I'm not going to say, well, because maybe he wasn't as great in his beginning of the college career, when he's a stud his senior year. I'm not going down that road, though. I support the growth. I just think this. The hype of his talent is definitely overblown because of how he is viewed. But I support number 4 being the AFC North. Here's my third on the list. So my third shines 5th. The NFC North. The reason I say this is I just think on this list there are 4 quarterbacks that you can literally rely on. I think there's 4 quarterbacks on this list who are, I would say, good in this league. Good in this league. Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, you now have Nick Foles, and you have Kirk Cousins. I think when you play a game in that division, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a battle. You have 4 quarterbacks who can play. Now, you want to throw in Kirk Cousins. Oh, he can't win a big-time game. Look at his record against good teams, yada, yada, yada. Kirk Cousins can win a football game. Kirk Cousins is able to beat you. You have 4 quarterbacks on this list who they're capable of beating you. And they are, I would say, definitely average to above average. All of them. You don't get that in all of these lists. Average to above average. The only person I'm saying average really is Nick Foles, and he has the ability to be above average. We've seen it. He has the ability to. Now, long term, in a big window, for a whole season, no, but in any given Sunday moment, yeah, we've seen it. Super Bowl MVP for a reason, right? So you do have Nick Foles. You have Matthew Stafford, who puts up a ton of numbers. And don't give me the Lions stink. The Lions do stink, absolutely. No one has ever really had success in a Lions uniform. That's more of an organizational problem to me. That's more of a culture problem. You put Matthew Stafford with Bill Belichick, guess what? He's winning Super Bowls. You put Matt Stafford with Doug Peterson, guess what? He's viewed differently than he is in Detroit. You put Matthew Stafford on any team but the Detroit Lions, the Cleveland Browns. You put him in an organization that knows what the hell they are doing, and Matthew Stafford is viewed completely different. He's got a hell of a cannon. He's a good quarterback. I actually really enjoy Matthew Stafford, and I think it's a shame that he had to waste his career in such a dumpster fire place. So I support Matthew Stafford. We all know about Aaron Rodgers. And Kirk Cousins, I get the ha-ha chirps. There's always someone that gets that throughout the league in all of sports. Kirk Cousins is that guy. He can't do anything right. Whenever he does do something right, social media blows up and still continues to rip him apart. But at the end of the day, I just think you have 4 quarterbacks in this division that they're just a core group of guys that together they are strong. I think it's 4 quarterbacks in one division that are super strong, and for that reason, they're my number 3, and they're Shine's number 5. 6th on Shine's list, the AFC South. They come in at number 7 for me. Deshaun Watson. Can't wait to see what he's going to do without DeAndre Hopkins. I just talked about how I want to see Kyler Murray, a young quarterback, grow with him so I can see him take that next step. I want to see Deshaun Watson take that next step. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be tough. There goes your security blanket. You don't have one anymore. The guy caught everything. The dude's hand, they had glue on them. You could just throw him the football and it stuck to his hands. It could be 800 feet wide, 800 feet behind him, below him. Bang, he catches it. It just sticks to his hands. How is Deshaun Watson going to be able to take that next step and prove he didn't need him? Of course, it's a nice luxury, but hey, I don't need him. I can do what Carson Wentz did. Give me Greg Ward. Give me Rob Davis. Give me Joshua Perkins. I really doubt that's the case. But other teams and quarterbacks on the list, of course, is Phillip Rivers. I think what he did in the past was great to an extent. He was never able to actually win the big game or raise the Lombardi trophy. But if this is the projection for 2020, I'm out on Phillip Rivers, even though going to Frank Reich will be fun. I love what Frank Reich has done in Indianapolis, but I think Phillip Rivers is kind of toast. He seems to be slower. The ball doesn't come out the same way, doesn't have the same zip. And I saw him kind of fall off a bit, and I still can think that it will continue to go in that direction. So I'm not big on Phillip Rivers. I'm not big on Gardner Minshew either. We talk about dumpster fire organizations. Well, I don't know what the hell the Jags are really doing. Well, they signed Nick Foles to the big contract. Then they get rid of him instantly because of Gardner Minshew. And if you look at the contract situation, if you thought Gardner Minshew could do the same as Nick Foles, then I think reasonably it does make sense to get rid of Nick Foles because you got a quarterback on a rookie contract. But the Jags, they're just this dumpster fire organization. I know a few years ago, which is crazy to even think about, they did make it to the AFC championship game, and then they fell apart completely. They're just an organization that's hard to trust any move that they really make. I'm just not some big Gardner Minshew guy. You want to go back to people fall in love with personalities and people fall in love with swag. If Gardner Minshew did not have a mustache, do we even talk about him? If Gardner Minshew did not have this goofy personality, and here he comes with the mustache after the game and putting up Twitter pictures side by side of people in movies, would we even care about Gardner Minshew the way that he's talked about now? Or is he just your average backup quarterback who's winning a football game? See what I'm saying? People fall in love with that more so than the game itself. And he put a good product on the field at times. They won games. Not something that is enough for me to fall in love with the hype. And then Mr. 500 himself, Ryan Tannehill. Just steady Eddie, 500. That's what he is. That's what he gives you. So, between Deshaun Watson and Ryan Tannehill, not too scary of a combination. And altogether, as a 4 unit, not too scary. These group of guys come in at 6 for Shine, 7 for Broads. All right, we got 2 left here. This, to me, is by far the worst, and I mean the worst, division in football when it comes to quarterback play. 7 on Shine's list, 8 on mine. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Dolphins, Ryan Fitzpatrick / Tua. New England Patriots, Jarrett Stidham. New York Jets, Sam Darnold. I don't know where to begin. And how this group of 4 beat out Wentz and Dak, that's flat out embarrassing. That's a joke. As I stated, coming in at 8 for this guy, Shine, is Wentz, Dak, Daniel Jones, and Dwayne Haskins. And even if you thought Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins were the worst quarterbacks in football, if you valued Pat Mahomes that much to carry that group of guys all the way up to 3 of Drew Lock, Derek Carr, Tyrod Taylor, then this makes no sense, and you're very inconsistent. And here's the first sentence of the conversation about Carson Wentz. Wentz is a flat-out stud. Quote, end quote. Wentz is a flat-out stud. So if you feel that way, if you feel that strong, how is he last on your list? Yet you got a bunch of crap in the AFC East above them. Let's see what he had to say about Prescott. Prescott should shine under Mike McCarthy. There's a slight pause on both, with the Jalen Hurts implementation in Philly and Dak's contract in Dallas. But for the sake of conversation, I think both situations play themselves out in a positive way. Let's hear what he has to say about the two dumpster fire quarterbacks at the back end. By the end of the coming season, when it comes to stacking up all the quarterbacks in the AFC East and NFC East, I won't be surprised if Jones and Haskins rank 7 and 8. And that's what cements this ranking for the division. So he pretty much states that Haskins and Jones are so bad, so horrendous, so awful, that Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott get sucked down because of that. So as Pat Mahomes rises everybody to the top, Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins pulls down the others, and I think that that's flat out disgusting in my opinion. I don't see how Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Jarrett Stidham, he must have faith that Bill Belichick's system is just going to be the one that finds a way to make any quarterback work, which is crazy. So just to be clear, where I rank the NFC East, it's 5th. I think 5 is fine, with Carson and Dak leading the pack. How about that? Whoa, what is going on right now? I think 5 is safe to say. So to just go through my list, because I think my list is way better than what was put together on NFL.com. I have the NFC South at 1, the NFC West at 2, the AFC West at... Oh, no, hold on. This is the way that I'm reading it for him, and I do not want to do that. Let's restart. The NFC South at 1, the NFC West at 2, the NFC North at 3. I love the grouping of Nick Foles, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Kirk Cousins. I think that is strong. My number 4 is the AFC North with Lamar Jackson and Ben Roethlisberger carrying the weight. Number 5, the NFC East. I think Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott. They are good quarterbacks in this league that deserve more praise than 8th. With Daniel Jones, you don't really know what you're going to get, but I keep talking about dumpster fire organizations. Does that play into effect with these quarterbacks? I don't know what to feel about Dwayne Haskins. It was ugly with Washington. Now you have a head coach who is more of a defensive guy, although they did bring in some offensive minds, no doubt about it. But I just wonder if that has something to do with it, where these players are playing more so than the talent. But if you're going to project 2020, it does matter where these players are, of course, because that's where they're going to have to succeed. So if you think it's because of the organization, well, they still might have bad seasons. So I do understand that completely. I don't know what Daniel Jones is, though, because I see times where it's like, okay, yeah, the kid's making plays. He's just so raw. It's similar to Kyler Murray. With these quarterbacks, you're just so raw. But if you're going to have Kyler Murray jumped up in the list, my problem with it all now is inconsistency. So from there, that's where I think his list is flawed. So NFC East is 5 for me. I have the AFC West with Mahomes, Locke, Derek Carr, and Tyrod Taylor at 6. Number 7 is the AFC South with Deshaun Watson, Ryan Tannehill, Gardner Minshew. And 8th, the brutal AFC East. I can't believe that division did not come in last place. I thought that exercise was kind of fun. I like reading up on these articles. There's a lot of Bleacher Report ones that I think I'm going to get into over the next couple weeks that are interesting. I like debating with what some of these writers go with. Right now, we're hoping that baseball comes back. That's the big thing. I didn't want to talk about it prior to all the news dropping because you never know. You get excited, then there's a way that they totally destroy all the positivity because they can't agree on something. And for me, I feel as if maybe, just maybe, when it comes to the safety protocol stuff, you might see some back and forth between the union and the owners, and I really hope I'm wrong. But because of that, I thought it was the right idea to maybe sit back, wait for baseball news to drop fully so we have legit full details and confirmation, and for the meantime, talk some football, talk some quarterbacks. So thank you guys so much for watching. One more time, this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. The solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. In addition, they will make sure you receive all the state and federal incentives available for switching to solar. It's a great investment. The link to their website is in the description. Check it out. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.